Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Mobelli live show. My name is Alon and this is my co-founder and brother and partner Aviv. And basically what we're going to do in this show is we're going to ask you to give us 15 minutes and we will teach you how to be a professional furniture buyer. You will never feel like you'll ever make a mistake again buying furniture. We will also teach you some interior design tips. We've got a great one for you today. And we'll let you know what to look out for when buying furniture. And most importantly, we'll get you to understand the Mobelli philosophy better. So in today's show, why do some spaces seem more appealing than others? And I can tell you it's not because they're filled with furniture. Then we will showcase the world's best outdoor fabric, and Aviv will basically abuse it on air too. It's going to be a very exciting demo. It's one of our best ever, so please stay to see it. And lastly, my grandfather's parents survived the Spanish flu, and he shared their wisdom with me, and I want to share it with you too. So let's start with the show.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
So, have you ever wondered why some homes and venues are stunning and attract people to them, while others not so much? Today, I'll be able to share with you at least one reason why that's the case. Look at the pictures. They're magnificent. They're showcasing amazing lounges, dining rooms, and lobbies. They are attractive to the eye and elicit a wow from the audience. Now, look at these images. As you'll see, they're not so nice, or at least not for me. And the difference between the two is obvious. In the not so nice images that you're viewing now, we see too many furniture pieces cramped into one room. In the attractive picture set, there were furniture pieces surrounded with a lot of empty space. It is the use of that space that makes the difference, and it has a name. In design and art, they call it negative space. A negative space is not one where we go out and moan about the fact that we're locked up in our homes for weeks and that many of our freedoms have been taken away. No, 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 no. That space is called Facebook. A negative space in design is the empty space around and in between objects. It allows you to focus your eye on the thing that you want to highlight, the thing that matters most. It can be a piece of art, a lounge suite, a dining table, or an occasional chair. To me, that is an amazing concept. You need space between and around objects so that they can be highlighted. When we ask people what they think of Mobelli, they answer, well, a premium furniture company. Some also think that we're a cool brand too. But Aviv and I think of Mobelli slightly differently. We believe that good furniture allows one to socialize with friends and connect with family. Now we are spending 100% of our time inside our homes, and this is truer than ever. So our purpose can really be summed up in 4 words: inspiring spaces, creating memories. And we believe that the right design will incorporate negative spaces, which will highlight your furniture and make the space more desirable. As furniture retailers, we're both telling you, don't over-clutter your home. You will destroy that negative space and your lounge and dining room will not be attractive enough. And worse, when that happens, your friends won't want to come and visit you. And in the end of the day, if you don't have negative space, you'll be all alone and sad. When people arrive at Mobelli and want to buy a lounge suite or a dining table, we always ask, how many people do you want to entertain? And they often want to buy furniture that will be able to seat all the maximum amount of guests that they normally get. And then we say, and how many people are in your immediate family? And the difference is stark. People initially want to buy furniture that aims to cater for the outlier events of guests coming to dinner, rather than just for the immediate family. And what ends up happening is that your entire space is now cluttered with furniture that is not often used.
Just want to tell you that we've invited a sign language expert. She's arrived, but the budget only allowed us to have it for about 1 minute. So please come over here and translate what Alon is saying.
Cool. So we advise our customers that the idea is not to have your area littered with furniture. We actually urge them to buy less. We want them to have the space in between so that the furniture makes a statement and attracts people to it. Nowadays, when the trend is towards apartment and urban living, people simply do not have the space. So the solution is to buy a piece of furniture that can cater for the immediate family and, when needed, transform and cater for those extra guests. Dining tables are one of those items that can transform easily. Now, today I want to show you some extendable tables which will allow you to cater for the immediate family and then easily convert to the bigger size when guests arrive and still maintain your negative space. Our warning though, before we proceed to show you the tables, we strongly believe they need to be operated easily. If the extension table is a hassle, you will not find it at Mobelli. The Grande is an extension table which is suitable for both indoor and outdoor use. It transforms so you can fit from 8 to 14 people, sometimes more if you use a bench like in the picture that we just saw. And it has a very clever mechanism which hides the extension under the table. And all that's required to extend it is to pull the sides apart and lift the extension. It's really super easy. The window fits between 6 to 8 people. If you want to squeeze maybe 2 more, but that depends on the chairs. And all you need to do to extend is just twist the top and the extension comes out. And really, that's one of the beautiful thing about the furniture is you don't have to go and look for the extension pieces out in the garage, or have to struggle with it, or ask your help, your domestic help to help you with it, or worse, your husband. The next table is the Carnegie. It starts off in an oblong shape, and as you can see, it transforms into a round table fairly, very easily. It fits from 4 people and then extends to a beautiful round table that can fit a 5th or 6th person. And again, I'm telling you that because it depends on the type of chairs that you buy. If you buy armchairs, you'll be able to fit less people around the table. If you buy side chairs without arms, you'll be able to fit more people in. So as we said, the philosophy is that it must always be hassle-free. Extension tables are great for the balance between utility and style. When the guests come for dinner, it's acceptable to sacrifice some of the negative space because the table is extended and open, and in any event, it's about those connections with people, which we love at Mobelli. But mostly, the table will be used by the family, and then all you have to do is have all that extra space. Mobelli furniture is not only utilitarian, it's also there to make sure that the space looks good. At the end of the show, I will discuss a century-old remedy for COVID-19. But next, we will show you why fabric salespeople hardly come to Mobelli to sell outdoor fabric, and why we tell people to leave their cushions outside. Fabric is one of the most important items on furniture. It's actually the one thing that people get to interact with the most. And after all, they touch it whenever they sit on the couch. When people walk around the Mobelli showrooms, they're amazed at what they thought was couches for indoor are actually outdoor couches. That is because so many of them are fully upholstered. But they're always hesitant in buying outdoor upholstered sofas at first. They always say, what do I do if it rains? Well, Aviv and I built Mobelli on the assumption that we are all lazy, that what we are after is hassle-free living. I mean, what is the point of having outdoor furniture where you have to remove cushions and store them when it rains, or having an ugly cover on your beautiful lounge suite? Imagine if you got home from work, pour yourself a glass of wine or a cup of coffee to relax, step outside and realize that you have to bring in the cushions from the garage, or worse, remove the covers so you can enjoy your drink. If it was me, I'd turn right back and never use the furniture. But with Mobelli, you never have to do that. Just leave Everything outside, cushions, upholstered lounge suites, everything. Even if it rained a few hours ago, your furniture will be ready to use shortly after the sun comes out. And just to let you know, rain and water don't destroy fabric. They don't destroy outdoor furniture. It's actually the UV rays from the sun that's the biggest culprit. If the fabric is not made from the right material, the sun will break it. Oftentimes, what is marketed as outdoor fabric will start fraying after a short period of time, and worse, that fabric may start fading after a few months. So, to solve this problem, there are fabrics. We only use the best fabrics in the world that all the top brands in the world use. There's nothing better. And these last for years. Fading will be unnoticeable on most colors, and the fabrics are soft and beautiful to the touch and really easy to clean. So now what I want to do is I want to go over to Aviv, who will showcase what that fabric can do. Aviv?
Thank you, Alon, for that amazing introduction. Today I'm going to show you something that myself and Alon are known and hated for in the industry and loved for within the community of our customers and our staff. And that is a test. I'm not going to tell you what the test's name is yet, but first of all, what I want to do is I want to show you what I've got over here. So I've got our outdoor fabric, the Mobelli outdoor fabric. Behind this, I've actually got a paper towel. Now the paper towel is there to show you something a little bit later on. So now that I've shown you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take normal water. It is Tivadas Kloof water, but it's normal water like you get in the taps around the country. And I'm going to pour it onto the fabric. So what you can see now is that normal fabrics, the water gets saturated into the fabric. And what's happening right now is that the water is sitting on top of the fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the water off, and I'm going to show you underneath that none of the water is actually gone into the paper towel. Now, that's very good for rain and stuff. But what we actually do, and that is why the salespeople of the outdoor fabrics don't want to come to us, is we do what is called the espresso test. So unfortunately, we don't have an espresso machine here, but we do have an espresso cup with coffee inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour the coffee onto the fabric. Now, as you can see, it stays exactly the same as the water. Now, a lot of our customers say, yes, but you know, when people pour wine and coffee, they might sit on it and the kids are going to put Coke on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate sitting on it. I'm going to take and I'm going to rub the liquid into the fabric. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab the excess coffee. There's no coffee. Now the test comes in. Did the fabric go into the paper towel underneath? I hope this works. Let me just check. Oh, right, I could be a magician. So this is why Mobelli fabric is amazing. Alon, there's so many other things that we can talk about fabric, but Alon did tell me to please be very direct because I do like to talk a lot. So over to you, Alon.
Thanks, Aviv. And we'll definitely do a deep dive into it in another video. It's not going to be a live show, but if anybody really wants to see exactly what the fabrics can do, absolutely amazing. You know, those fabrics are actually fairly expensive. They cost 5 to 6 times normal fabrics. They cost, maybe 4 to 5 times more than outdoor fabrics, but they last so long. I mean, I've had one piece of fabric like this from before we started Mobelli, and that's been like for more than 15, 16 years. And really, it's so easy to clean. It's still out there, and nothing nowadays lasts for so long. And in any event, we believe that if you're spending so much money on lifestyle, on outdoor furniture, why hassle by carrying stuff in and out all the time? By the way, as Aviv said, the salespeople, when they come to Mobelli to try and sell us fabrics, and we show them the espresso test, they're not sure. And when they do it, I can tell you that most of them fail miserably. So now, when it comes to scatter cushions, by the way, we don't mind them not being as hardy as the upholstery, because scatter cushions need to be cost effective and they need to be fashionable. They're meant to be replaced often, so the stuff doesn't have to last for 5, 10, 15 years. So, then we can take a lot of the polyester fabrics and use them. By the way, the fabric that we have is acrylic. Acrylic is basically a type of plastic, but it's very soft. When you come to one of our showrooms, which are now open, by the way, you'll be able to feel everything and see all the colors and textures. It's amazing. So just going back to the scatters, the last time we tried to make scatters, we spent weeks sourcing materials. We spoke to quite a few fabric houses. We had exclusivity on the items. And before we were ready to place the order and go ahead and make them, one of our interior decorators said, this fabric can only be left undercover because it's going to fade. And we said, well, if it's going to fade, if it's going to be left undercover, it can't be part of Mobelli. And so we stopped production. And then we came up with the idea that we should actually make scatters from acrylics. But acrylics are expensive. But you know what? Some creativity caused us to come up with these ideas. Each one of these scatters that you see right now is made from acrylic fabric. They're funky, they're soft, they can stand outside. You never have to take them in. They can stand out inside as well. Some of them are made with very expensive fabric, but the way that we made them allowed us to maximize the yield. And so we're actually pricing them in unbelievable prices. I think they start at $5.95 or something like this, which is like nearly Woolworths prices for indoor, but this is all outdoor fabrics. So the one key takeaway for you guys is the next time you go and buy fabric, any fabric, indoor and outdoor, ask the salesperson to do the espresso test. You can use water and this will save you tons of money. Next, I want to share with you a 100-year-old wisdom that came from the Spanish flu that might help us to fight against COVID-19 that we have definitely forgotten. So the story goes like this. About 14 years ago, I was in Israel with my wife, Michelle, and our firstborn. He was a year old. And we were visiting my grandfather. And my wife was talking about antibiotics and medications. And then I looked back to my grandfather and I said to him, what did you do in the 1940s in Israel when their kid, which is our mother, was sick? Because there were no antibiotics. And to be honest, the place was really like a poor village. There was nothing around. And he just answered nonchalantly, we just put her outside in the fresh air. And that stayed with me for a while. And then when the coronavirus came here, and I was researching a bit about the last known plague, which was the Spanish flu, and found some amazing information. And I even wrote a few blog posts in the Mobelli blog about it. And it seemed as if fresh air, the medicine that my mother had as a child, was actually the best medicine. So let's go back a bit. In 1918, people were forced to wear face masks. They were being quarantined and shops and the economy was basically shut down. The hospitals were overcrowded. Schools and public halls were converted to hospitals, as you can see in this picture. The mortality rate, if you went to hospital, was 40%. US soldiers coming back from the end of the First World War were cooped up on barracks and ships on the transport back to the United States. And upon arrival, and due to the lack of space in hospitals, some doctors had the inclination that since the barracks were poorly ventilated, maybe the soldiers needed some fresh air. So they placed the sick in tent city hospitals, usually close to rivers, big fields, so that they can get the fresh air. And when possible, they were even moved outside to get some sun too. As you can see, here's a tent city hospital image showing right now. and they basically called it open air therapy. And it wasn't even a new concept then, because in the 1780s in London, when there was an outbreak of TB, the doctors there used open air therapy to aid in recovery. But the amazing thing is that even though they were housed in makeshift hospitals, being exposed to fresh air and sunlight had an amazing effect on recovery, and only 13% fatalities occurred. 1-3, as opposed to 40% fatality in the well-maintained hospital. So open air therapy is a great way to treat many ailments, and it was used extensively until the 1950s when penicillin arrived and treated everything then, and it seems to have been forgotten. But the lesson for us today, and what I want you to take away from this, I want you to spend time outside. Okay, so we're allowed to exercise now, that's great. But when you're at home, be outside on the balcony, be outside on the patio, get the fresh air, and do it safely. Don't overexpose yourself to the UV rays of the sun, but please spend time on your balcony, in your patio or your garden. It worked wonders 100 years ago, and I believe it will work wonders again. That's our show for today. Thank you very much.